Man, it feels like it's almost been a full year since Dune Part 2 came out. Oh, March 1st release date last year? It basically has been a year. But you know what? That doesn't stop Dune Part 2 from being overall a masterpiece of cinema, and it definitely should win Best Picture. Going into the Oscar season, probably the number one take you'll find on Twitter or across any type of social media platform is that why do people not love Dune Part 2? And I think it's a very good question to have for a movie that didn't get all that many Oscar nominations. You have great performances from actors across the board. Timothy Chalamet as Paul Atreides, Zendaya as Chani, Austin Butler as Fade Rothra, and even going all the way down to Javier Bardem as Stilgar. Dune Part 2 delivers a large cast that brings you into this cinematic world, this universal space world, and gives us a great conflict. Mixed in there are incredible visual effects, things that are shown through the lens and directed by Denis Villeneuve, who many will call the biggest snub again for the best director like he was for Dune 1. Villeneuve has a vision for the Dune series and the Dune world, and he is able to use so much action and so much practical effects and just the overall landscape to deliver this rich world and everything going on with both Fremen and Harkonnen culture and life. Whether you're on the planet that, at the very beginning of the movie that most of our characters are on, or you see the home planet of the Harkonnens where we meet Fade Rothra, every bit of Dune is artistry at its highest capacity, and almost all of that you can attribute back to Denis Villeneuve. Mixed in there is an incredible score by Hans Zimmer that's so iconic that you didn't have to change it that much from the first movie, which unfortunately prevented it from being nominated for Best Score, Original Score at the Oscars this year. All this to say there's so much more action going on. Much of the hand-to-hand combat scenes from Austin Butler's Fade Rothra or Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya in this movie delivered to the highest angle. The political, jousting of the Emperor, played by Christopher Walken, and the Princess Aurelian, played by Florence Pugh, gives a big overall political landscape throughout this. And just seeing how the Harkonnens are dealing with their new planet and the Fremen as a whole, I think gives an interesting political jousting for people who like that type of conflict. Dune Part 2 is also not short on visual effects. There's many moments in this movie where you can almost just put the pause button on and you feel like you're looking at a stunning picture that you can just use as a background forever. Dune Part 2 is beautifully shot, both cinematography in black and white and in a more deep-colored surrounding on the Dune planet. The scenes leave big impacts, nothing more for most people than Paul Atreides addressing the Fremen after he's kind of taken on the role as their prophet, as their Lisan al-Agib. And throughout the whole entire movie, Paul Atreides going back and forth between what is expected from him and what is his destiny is things that I think are really well done and allow this movie to really connect with so many people. Honestly, the best supporting performance in this cast is Javier Bardem as Stilgar, consistently uplifting both Chani and Paul Atreides to the Fremen people and always being able to provide a laugh and to kind of play the role of the audience member in the movie. If there do have any critiques of this, I do think some of the Harkonnen side stuff does drop severely in quality compared to the first movie, but Dave Bautista is always giving good laughs, and Stellan Skarsgård as the Baron still does an incredible job in that role. Dune Part 2 is just what people are looking for when it comes to cinema nowadays. It has the grand visual effects, it has the epic score, it takes you out of the world and gives you something that you can only imagine to see on a big screen. The cast is loaded with amazing performances from Florence Pugh to Austin Butler to Timothy Chalamet to Zendaya, and it just is an exhilarating time from first scene to the very end. Dune Part 2 should never be forgotten as the epic scale in the middle of the franchise that we're going to get. And even though the Oscars don't like to award these movies, there's so much more you can talk about Dune Part 2 onto why it should win the Oscars come March 2nd. And I think I laid out most of those here in the video right now.